Amusha Shabda.
Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusha Shabda.
Musha Chitasra. Paramasya Nase.
Navatyatasra Paramasya Nase.
Grano Jagandho Upakvita.
Granosya Gandho Mukam Agnirita.
Indhadyo Bhava
Indradayo Bhava Ahurusra.
Karnadisha Shrupamusha Shabda.
Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusha Shabda.
Nasatyadashra Paramasya Nase.
Nasatyadasra Paramasya Nase.
Ramo Shigandho Upakvita.
Grano Sagando Mukam Agnirita.
Indhadyo Bhava Ahurusha.
Andradayo Bhava Ahurusra.
Karnadisha Shrupamusha Shabda.
Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusha Shabda.
Nasatyadashra Paramasya Nase.
Nasatyadasra Paramasya Nase.
Rano Sigandho Agnihita.
Grano Sagando Mukam Agnirita. Indradayo Bhava Ahurusra. Indradayo Bhava Ahurusra. Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusya Shabda. Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusya Shabda. Nasatyadasra Paramasya Nase.
Nasatyadashra Paramasya Nase.
Grano Sagando Mukam Agnirita.
Grano Sigandho Mukhamagdita.
Indradayo Bhava Ahurusra.
Indradayo
Bhava Ahurusra. Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusya Shabda. Karnavdisha Shrutram Amusya Shabda. Satyadashra Paramasya Nase.
Nasatyadashra Paramasya Nase.
Granosya Gandho Mukam Agnirita.
Grano Sigandho Mukhamagdita. Indriya Adya.
Indra.
Demigod headed by the heavenly king Indra.
Demigod headed by the heavenly king Indra.
Bahava
Arms.
Ahu
Ahu
are called Ushra,
Bushra,
the demigod.
the demigods.
Karna, the ears. Tisha, the four directions. Shotram, the sense of hearing. Amusha, of the Lord. Shabda, sound. Nasatyadashra, demigods known as the Ashvini Kumaras. Paramasya, of the Supreme. Nase, nostrils. Grana, the sense of smell. Asya, of him. Gandha, fragrance. Mukham, the mouth. Agni, fire. Ida, blazing. Translation and purport by his Matris. His arms are the demigods headed by Indra. 10 directional sides are his ears. He hears everything. People think they're secrets. And physical sound is a sense of hearing. His nostrils are the two Ashvini Kumaras, and the material fragrance is a sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire. The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead made in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 11:30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people in your blazing mouths and covering all the universe by your immeasurable rays, scorching the worlds you are manifest. In that way, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for the student of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the science of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent. The conception of the Virat Purusha for the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord is said to include all the dominating demigods as well as the dominating living beings. Even the minutest part of a living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gigantic form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gigantic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form as the Lord Sri Krishna, also appeases the demigods and all the other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of a tree distributes energy to all the tree's other parts. Consequently, for a materialist also, worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. One need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of different desires. The real entity is the Lord himself, and all others are imaginary, for everything is included in him only. Om Jnanatimanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksham Rajam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Guru Bhagavatam Yet Vipata Bhagavate Shri Guru Vanti Kapati Kripa Sindhu Deva Cha Palitana Pavani Vaishnava Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasa Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Here it said Shrotram Amusha Shabda, sense of hearing. This is the most important of all the senses, because by this sense of hearing we come to understanding Krishna. We understand. So, of course, you can't understand Krishna completely. We can understand Krishna to some degree by this hearing. When we sleep, there's this one sense that doesn't sleep. Of course, for some people it does. Some people are light sleepers. I'm like that. Very easily. There's one instance where a life member, he was sleeping in his house, and his alarm went off. Now the alarm was probably chanting japa. Sometimes people set their alarms thinking that it's some transcendental alarm. But he didn't set it. So he was going, why? Why are you going? About 12 o'clock. And then he noticed his house was on fire. So he got up, he got whatever little things he could, and he ran up, and the house burnt to the ground. He was amazed. Prabhupada saved him. He didn't set the alarm. The alarm went off, saved his life. And he gave $2 million to the temple. And set it big. So, yeah, hearing. It's the one sense that doesn't sleep. So in this hearing has to be done again and again and again, as Vaisesha Kumara says, keep the transcendental vibration going. So here, this is the first step in God realization. So we have to be very attentive, because in the beginning of our God realization, it's not easy. Struggle. Some of you may have noticed. Struggle. But if we keep this Krishna consciousness, we continue to keep on coming back. The same Prabhu gives the example of child. Child, 6 months old, they can't walk yet. So they take a few steps and fall down. And they get up, they fall down again. Then they get up and they walk a few steps and they fall down again. But eventually, they'll be able to walk, run, but it takes, it's going to keep on getting up. So sometimes we may slip a little bit. And daily we slip. Sometimes we forget Krishna. That's a slip. We fell down. It's not a major fall down. Didn't break the principles or anything. But to forget Krishna, Prabhupada actually says in one report, he said the greatest sin is to forget Krishna for a moment. So we fall down daily, right? So we just got to keep on getting back up. But Hare Krishna, keep on coming back. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Because the mind it's flickering. Yato nischavati manas chanchal tatasto nyamyati. Krishna knows. He knows the mind is flickering. But he says, from wherever the mind goes due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must bring it back. Bring it back under the control of itself. And eventually, we'll reach a level where we're always thinking of Krishna. That'll be an auspicious period in our life. That's the perfection, to always think of Krishna. He says, Man manapa to always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer you. Thou shalt come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. Now, someone who was not familiar with Krishna consciousness might think, well, this person sounds a little bit like he's a little egotistic. You know? Always think of me and become my devotee. I mean, but actually, Krishna, he doesn't need anybody to think of him. It's for our benefit. For our benefit, we think of Krishna. Krishna, he's Atmaram. He's self-satisfied. But he knows, because we're all parts of him. He's the Father. So he knows. Father knows best. There was that show you ever saw, Father knows best. What was the old show? Father knows best. Turned out that the person that the star of that show, the father, he was an alcoholic. So he didn't know best. But Krishna, he knows best. He knows what's best for us. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, he says a verse that, and this verse is the beginning, or anyway, it says, Kshanti Vyakakala Varaktir Manasunis Ashabanda Samudri Namagane Siddharaj Asatista Ganakaya Pritista Vasadesala. We heard Tara Prabhu yesterday about forgiveness. We should be forgiven. This is the first in this series of things that Rupa Goswami says. This is the This is the understanding by which we can understand one is advancing in Krishna consciousness. Forgiving. If we're not forgiving, then it's like carrying a heavy weight. It's like carrying a heavy weight. And nobody likes to carry a heavy weight. But it's like that. But it's a subtle heavy weight. So we should be forgiving. Krishna is forgiving. He says, even if one commits the most abominable activity, if he's engaged in devotional service, he's understood to be saintly. Even the most abominable activity, Krishna forgives. So he's forgiving, so we should also be forgiving. Prabhupada was very forgiving. There was one instance where, in Mayapur, where some person came in, and he was a thief, and he tried to steal things, and the devotee said, "We should call the police." And the person said, "Actually, I want to try this out. I want to try this Krishna consciousness out." So Prabhupada gave him a chance. And the police, by then the police were there and said, Swamiji, this person, he's just saying that so you can get, keep him going to jail. Well, maybe there's something there. The Prabhupada gave the benefit of the doubt. So they let him stay in the ashram. And he was coming to the morning program, he was coming to class, and it appeared like he was having some realization, some appreciation. But Prabhupada told the temple commander watching, Prabhupada's not sleeping. So one morning, Mangalarti, he tried to sneak out. And the temple commander caught him and took him to Prabhupada. Prabhupada tried to get away. Now call the police. So Prabhupada was forgiven. But he took advantage. He thought, oh, I can get away with this. But Swamiji's very forgiving, very kind. Use that to his advantage. But this is the nature. Kshanti avyartha kalatvam, and then not wasting time. We were just hearing this morning. We shouldn't waste time. Time is so valuable. Whatever time we have, it should be utilized in Krishna consciousness, hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's glories. Time is so very valuable. And now time is wasted in so many ways. With all these different devices, people have lost their ability to concentrate. They can't sit and mind just all over the place. So fortunately, we've been given information that is captivating. As Sri Prabhupada says in one purport in the Bhagavad Gita, that one should be captivated by this knowledge. And many people were captivated by this knowledge, and it changed their lives. So we should continue being captivated by this information. Vikshanti avyartha kala, but bhaktir means detachment. So this knowledge is so powerful that so many devotees, thousands of devotees, became detached from so much sinful activity, meat eating, gambling, intoxication, so much nonsense. There's one professor, I think, Professor Buda. He was amazed because in America they're trying so many ways to get people off drugs. But then Prabhupada comes and just tells them, chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, and you'll be all right. And they stop. They're like amazed. It's completely amazing. So this is a higher taste. Krishna consciousness is a higher taste. They made that little booklet in 26th Avenue. Stay high forever. Because their idea, they want to get high. But the problem is they come down. Sometimes heavy, sometimes LSD suddenly just screws their mind up and they don't come down, they just go crazy. All the drugs. So this is a high where you stay high and it's a nice high. It doesn't cost anything. Drugs are very expensive, especially now. But this is free. Christianization. But sometimes on this journey, we're all on a journey of Christian consciousness. Sometimes we go off track. But you know, the pilots, when they go on these long trips across the Pacific or across the Atlantic, the plane, it goes off the flight path. Maybe 30, 40% of the time, it goes off. Wind, different things, so they got to get back on. So due to the wind of mind, sometimes we get off the path, get off a little, we got to go back on. It's like the child falls down and gets up. We got to keep on getting back on the path, back on the journey. The mind is such a rascal. So it's difficult to stay strictly on the path. But we have the most sublime example of Srila Prabhupada, very strictly path and giving us a good example. And so many devotees now that are practicing Krishna consciousness so nicely and giving us a good example. Kshantir Vyatakalanam Viraktir Manasunyata is free of false ego. There's the real ego, which means our identity, and there's the false ego. So it's hard to pull it because we've had this false ego in this lifetime. You know, sometimes I'm 70 years old now, so I've had this false ego for some time. And now we're trying to get our real ego, our real identity. We're not this body, we're spirit, soul, part of Krishna. So we're trying to get fixated on this reality, the real ego. Kshantir Vyardhikala Bharaktir Manasunya Ashabandha. Ashabandha means great hope. Hope against hope. Hope against hope. In other words, it seems like it's impossible. It seems like something I think, boy, to be a pure devotee, it seems so far-fetched. What hope is there to be completely absorbed in Krishna? Love for Krishna. But we should have that hope. It's there. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema. Shajikavanam Shravanani Sulichite. Gloria Yudo. It's there. It's there. It's just it comes out. It's like we've seen in this time that we've been practicing Krishna consciousness, some changes. Like thinking about where we were when we joined and where we are now. There's been some improvement. What do you think? Yeah, there's been some improvement. The qualities of the Vaishnava, they rise as we continue on. Kshantir Avyardhikala Dvan Varaktir Manasunyata Ashabana Samudvena. Samudvena means eager. Eager. We should be eager to engage in devotional service. We have this amazing phenomenon that at night the lights are out, we're laying down, there's no noise, and it's hard to sleep. Right? We've all had the experience. But then you come to Bhagavatam class, you're sitting up, the lights are on, there's noise. It's still, as soon as Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, people start to. Actually, it's said in India, they say it's the cure for insomnia. Srimad Bhagavatam. They know. But then when another verse comes up, Saira Vijaya, we come very awake. Eager, all right, all right. Very eager. Prasad. That's also seva. Prasad seva. Prasad seva. So, yeah, we should be eager to engage in the activities of devotional service. Eager to hear the holy name, to chant our japa. You know, like sometimes we're chanting our japa, we'll just wait until we could get done. All right, I've done that seva now, and do what I want to do. Prabhupada, he was kind of making fun of that. He chanted his 16 rounds. He put his beads down. There, now if any damn thing go on. But no, we should be eager to hear the holy name. This is the process in this age. Kalar dosan he rajan asti heka mahadra kirtan Krishna said mukta sangha param vajat. So many faults in this age. Such a degraded age. It's like I was talking to one professor at a university. He's a professor of religion. So I asked him, do you believe in God? He said, yeah. He said, you believe in God when you started your studies to be a religious professor? Yeah. That's the fault of this age. You go to the system, educational system, and they try to convince you there's no God. I mean, they really try. Even there was one devotee, one friend of mine, who was at university here in Northern California, and the professor said, "Now we don't want any God in this room." And this devotee was nice devotee. It's like shocked. So he called his parents and said, "This professor said." So they said, "All right, we're coming up," because he didn't have any association, and his parents are devotees, so they moved up just so that he has some association. So demonic. We don't want any God in this room. It's Kali Yuga. But in the Gurukul, it's all about God. It's all about God. Teaching the children, showing the senses, thinking of God, serving God. It's all about God. Now, no God. It's like when I was growing up, we used to pray to God in school. But then some atheists took it to court, and they won, and they took God out. Were you in school here when they?
No, I was in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia. A lot of God there.
In the school, no.
No,
Nothing.
nothing.
I mean, they weren't teaching atheism.
Right.
But there was no prayer for sure not.
Oh, no, we used to pray. And they took God out, and when they took God out, then it became hell. Now the students, they have to go through metal detectors. Some schools, they have to go through metal detectors because they're bringing guns and knives and so much drugs and so much illicit activity. So they thought, oh, this is good. Let's take God out. And all kinds of nonsense. Kids are bringing knives and guns and shootouts and madness. Bad move. Bad move. Prabhupada said from the early time, 5 years old, one should be taught about God consciousness. Student for life is very rare. People are wasting it. So fortunately, we have some good education here. Vikshanti Vyarthakal Virakti Manasuna Asabana Samudina Namagane Siddharuchi. Get a taste. Get a taste for the holy name. You gotta pray for it. Because we got these minds, these flickering minds. So it's just to chant 16 rounds. It's difficult. The mind. The mind is no taste. So we gotta pray. Man proposes, God disposes. We gotta pray for a taste for the holy name. It's there. The holy name is so nice. It's Krishna. It's Krishna. It's what's keeping us from getting this taste. This material attachments. So we have to pray very sincerely. Pray to the devotees, just like Prabhupada's father. He would ask the swamis that would come and visit him, please bless my son that he becomes a devotee of Srimati Radharani. It's very interesting. Not that he becomes a devotee of Krishna. Not that he becomes a devotee of Krishna, but of Srimati Radharani. Why? Because if he becomes a devotee of Srimati Radharani, naturally he becomes a devotee of Krishna also. Because Radharani, she's the greatest devotee of Krishna. Very interesting. Such a great devotee. So fortunate, Prabhupada. Here's a pure devotee taking birth in the family of pure devotee. Yes. What blessing, though. What a blessing. So we may not have been born in a family of pure devotees, but fortunately, somehow or another, we came in contact with Prabhupada. We learn now what it is to be a pure devotee, to have pure consciousness. So yeah, very fortunate. Yeah, Rupa Goswami, he says, I do not know how much nectar there is in the two syllables. I changed it. I don't know if he's mollified. I do not know how much nectar there is in the 6 syllables Hare Krishna Rama. We're doing this 3 names. When the holy name, when I chant the holy name, it appears to dance on my tongue. And I desire to have millions of tongues to chant the holy name and millions of ears to hear the holy name. When the holy name enters into the courtyard of my heart, it stops the activities of my mind. Boy, won't that be nice? Stop the activities of our mind. Just think of Krishna. Just think of Krishna. Trying to put the mind in line. Sublime, divine, Krishna. Trying to put the mind in line. Now it's out of line. It's probably what used to say, always a little out of order. Some always like drunk, he's out of order, out of line. So we're trying to get in line. Namaganisina Asaktis Tadginakya and Sakis Tadginakya and appreciating the qualities of Krishna to the point of appreciating Krishna's got so many unlimited wonderful qualities. Like when there's the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, but Krishna has unlimited wonderful qualities. And there's one quality that stands above all the others. Anybody know?
Awesome. It's about It's beauty.
Compassion. So compassionate. That's why we're here. He came and he spoke Bhagavad Gita. He didn't forget us. We forgot him. We turned away from Krishna. But the Father doesn't forget the Son. He came and left us the Bhagavad Gita. He sends his pure devotee. This is his compassion. So many Shaktavish avatars came. And it's interesting that there was a period there when Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gorkashar Das Babaji, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhaktistan, they're all there. Prabhupada, they're all there at the same time. 5 of them down there at the same time. I guess that would be about early 1900. So this is his compassion. So many ways he showed his compassion. We learn about prasad. So we're taking prasad. This is Krishna. So many ways Krishna is showing his compassion. Virakti manasya asabandha samud namaganis ashantista ganakya pritista visheshna and desiring to live in the temple, in the holy places. This is a symptom this is the symptoms of someone who is advancing in Krishna consciousness. To have these things, these 9 things that I just mentioned. This is a symptom of someone who is advancing. Not advanced yet, but advancing. So we become attached to these things. So many things you got to become detached from. But these things we're trying to become attached to. So attached to it we can't live without them. So is there any questions?
I have a question. For materialists also worshiping the gigantic universal form of the using the right hand. What does that look like to worship the universal form? Do they have a deity or like they just kind of go?
Well, the question is now where is that? Where in the purport is?
Towards the end.
Huh?
Towards the end, consequently. Starting with the word consequently.
First paragraph or second paragraph?
Second.
Second paragraph. What sentence?
Consequently. Starting with consequently.
Okay, consequently, for a materialist, also worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. Well, Prabhupada used to say,
how do you worship it?
So the question is how, consequently, for a materialist, also worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to. So the question is, how do you worship the universal gigantic form of the Lord? Well, we make clothes for them. Not joking. Prabhupada was talking about this. Imagine making clothes for the universal form. They take all the cloth in the world just to make one. So how do you worship? Well, Prabhupada used to say how the Aborigines they worship the sun because they know that the sun is very big and there's so much need of the sun, so they worship the sun. And even ourselves, with the sun rises, namaskar, Surya namaskar. Yeah. It's just a sun. It's part of the universal
gesture. Is that?
Huh?
It's a gesture, but does that constitute?
Yeah, yeah. Well, worship of the. I don't know. I've never met people with it. Well, there's these people that what do they call it? They worship the earth.
Yeah.
Pagans.
Vegas.
Yeah, pagans. They kind of the earth worshippers. They're into the earth. So that's something.
I mean, if people worship trees and things like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so
Big
this band,
banyan
I think, is
trees.
original.
Big banyan trees. They worship the banyan tree. Amazing tree. Yeah.
It's not really that active form of worship for material.
It's not. Yeah. It's not. It's not in the Vedic literatures. As far as I know. Anything else? Anything from our online? Good to see you there, Tim.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you as well. Thank you for the wonderful class. A quick reflection, and this is in regards to remembering Krishna, because it could be really challenging to always remember Krishna. And the other day, I was having, like five people are asking me to do something at the same time. And so in that moment, I was not remembering Krishna. I was trying to dig myself out of a hole. So I have this colleague at work, and every day he comes up to tell me about his gambling experience. So I really don't want to hear it, but I'm nice, so I'll hear it anyway. And he's like, "Can you guess how much money I won? 500, sometimes 1,000." And I'm wondering to myself, why are you even working here if you're making so much money, like $500 every week, $1,000, something like that? But that day, this was yesterday, I on my break, I was chanting the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, the opulence of the absolute. And he was coming up to me in the moment when I had so many things to do. And he's like, "Do you want to guess how much I won last night in gambling?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a second. I was just reading about this, 1036. Krishna says he's the gambling of cheats." And so in that moment, despite having so many things to do, I was like, "Jerry, thank you so much. You reminded me that Krishna is the gambling of cheats." And so for that moment, for a few seconds, I had a little bit of bliss, but then I had to go back and navigate my way around. But yeah, thank you for class, and thank you for inspiring me to try to think about Krishna more and more.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, gambling is actually it's one of the biggest addictions in the world. Gambling. People gamble away their homes sometimes, their cars. You used to gamble away his wife and his brothers. I mean, gambling. It's one of the worst addictions, and quite often people lose. Most people lose. They'll get something like this guy here. He's getting 500, he's getting 1,000 here. But he'll be lucky if he keeps on being a winner because generally they're losers because they got it, they got it down. Like these gambling casinos. There's in Australia, one friend of mine, he has a brother who, this friend of but he's a devotee, he has a brother who works at a gambling casino. And quite often they have hotels right there also, so they can just live there and gamble and spend a week and whatever. And all the windows have a bar there, so they can't jump out because they lose everything. And many of them jump out. They lose everything. Sometimes millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands. They just jump out, lost everything.
This is a Golden Gate Bridge. They have those nets. Those people commit suicide, catches them in the net.
Is it? They have them now?
Yeah.
Because so many people are jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
They get caught in the net.
For those on the internet, they have nets now under the Golden Gate Bridge to catch people that are jumping. I wonder if the people know there's a net down there. Get it?
Just put them back on the bridge.
Wow. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada, ki